Welcome, welcome, welcome to the UpKeep Pledge Pros Podcast, a podcast dedicated to unmatched value and unwavering support for our communities and our customer. Today, we have the Maintenance Hero Award winner for Team Leader. He is the winner. This is Anthony Cohen, the Fleet Maintenance Manager at Mount Diablo Resources and Recovery. Anthony, welcome.
Thank you for having me today. Good
You
morning.
are you are very welcome. You are the winner of our team leader with the Maintenance Heroes. This is amazing. You've been nominated, you've been selected, and you have won. So we're going to go through and learn about Anthony. We've got a bunch of questions for him. The first question, and before we get into the soup and the meat of it, um, Anthony, tell us a little bit about your background, where you come from, and where you are today.
Great. Yeah, I'm from Northern California. Been here all my life. Um, Actually got into the maintenance field kind of by chance. It was about 1996 where I needed another job and got into the parts end of it. And from there, it just migrated into service, and I've been here ever since about 2004 in the service field. So yeah, it's been a great ride, and I just I love dealing with people and love being a manager in this field because there's just some great young bright people that just want to get in it and progress, as they go. So
Yeah, that's amazing. It's good because I've been your position at a large mining and port company, Stevedore and Company. I know what it's like, and the sentiment at the end there you said about working with young people who want to get after it. Um, I often say on podcasts and at conferences talking to people is whenever I hear young people talking about trades, about industry, about maintenance, I go, "Come here, come talk to me." Right? We
for
want
sure.
to we want to gather them up and preach the gospel to them because it's such a lose we're losing that fight with young people, right? They see the internet and they see all this nonsense and think that that's the real world. It's not. Right. Right. The real world is you turn your lights on and the lights come on.
Mhm.
Get in your car and your car starts and it runs.
Absolutely.
Right. And there's a whole culture of people that make all of that happen,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, definitely the old days of the trades are just kind of going by the side now, and young people just like you say, they want to stand behind a computer and you know and not get their hands dirty. But it's exciting to see when you have a young person that wants to get into the trade and wants to progress and possibly be in your shoes one day. And to me, that's really exciting.
Yeah, we got to train our replacement, right?
Yeah,
In the
absolutely.
military, that was driven home with me is like, you can be the best, but you're nothing unless you're training your team to be the best if you're not around, right?
Right. For sure.
So what was your first role, Anthony, in as a maintenance professional?
Yeah, actually I needed a job back in 1996. I had lost a job. I had a family of three children and my wife, and my cousin was a mechanic for a Detroit diesel dealership.
Great engines.
Yeah, awesome. And he said, "Hey, we have a position open in the warehouse for parts." And that's kind of where I started in all this, and got into putting away parts, identifying parts, and then actually became a master parts tech within a year of being at Detroit Diesel, and then I just from there just went from place to place, and got into the maintenance field actually for a refuse company in Northern California, a major one, and had a chance to get involved with maintenance. And that's kind of where it all started. I've never really been a mechanic on the floor, um, but I've learned a lot. I've actually worked for Cummins Engine as well as a
Nice.
service manager. So quite a bit of experience in the field that gave me the opportunity to be in service. So
That's awesome. Yeah, Detroit in the Navy. I was on a flight deck, the aircraft carrier USS George Washington. All of our support equipment had the 53 series Detroit two strokes and everything. So the three cylinder, the four, the six, and the eight cylinder.
Yeah.
Great engines. So noisy, but they live forever. Um, they're great.
Definitely bulletproof, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, that's why the Navy got them, right? I mean, there's nothing to them. There's a blower on the side of the block, and it's just so simple.
Yeah.
So about your current role, what does a typical day look like for you?
Well, yeah, I come in and during the day, it's quite quiet. I just have a couple road mechanics because I'm involved with three shops. So I have a couple road mechanics, and we have at each shop we have some mechanics and welders and fabricators. So it's just a matter of scheduling their work. But also getting the night crew ready for the preventative maintenance, and then closing out, reviewing and closing out repair orders. But I also do the interviewing and hiring as well. So my week is my week, my month, my days are quite busy. But yeah, it's just a lot of communication, a lot of interacting with both crews, not only the day shift but the mid shift.
Nice. So, for your field guys, are they running service trucks like crane, service body, stuff like that?
Yeah, for us, we run. I have 121 refuse vehicles, so um, we don't have any cranes or anything like that, but definitely service trucks with parts on them,
Hmm.
and we cover quite a large area.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I mean, if it's something that we can't fix on the side of the road, we have it towed in.
Right.
But typically, it's something that we could fix and get back on the road.
Right. Are you running like what, like Knapheide, Redding, IMT, Maintainer? What kind of bodies do you run on your service trucks?
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm sorry. I had to mute that phone call. I don't know if you could hear it or not. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Can we get back into that question?
Yeah, sure. No, I was just prying a little bit. Service truck bodies, Redding, IMT, Knapheide, Maintainer. Who do you use?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Okay. No worries. I'm in that
Yeah.
world. So like that's one of
Okay.
one of the things I talk about. But well, that's good. How about in your shops? Are you guys rebuilding your own hydraulic cylinders? Are you making your own hydraulic lines? Because I know there's a lot of issues internal of your compaction bodies with stuff like that. You guys doing all that in house as well?
We used to. Yeah, now we don't. It's just really hard to find good help,
Yeah.
and just the staff for staffing reasons we don't. But yeah, we used to, and now we sub it out to other contractors or vendors.
Right. Have any of your team showed any interest in trying to bring some of that back into the shop and learn new skills?
Yeah, we actually have a couple guys that have rebuilt cylinders for us, but as a practice, we don't do it just because of just the workload that we have with the
Yeah.
people that, yeah.
It's a lot of work in itself.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, especially at night. I mean, that's where it's going crazy from 3:30 to midnight when the trucks are in and need the daily repairs done. The crews they're hopping at all three shops. So
Right. Cool. That's awesome. I know we talked a little bit about kind of how what got you into the field, which was out of necessity, right? Very
yeah.
similar in my circumstance as well. I'm a college dropout. I was always a tinkerer, fooling with Jeeps and building things and really not knowing what I was doing. So I went to automotive school out of necessity to learn a trade, right? But what in that transition, or who in that transition might have inspired you, right, to pursue this path of, getting in the door at Detroit, Cummins, really drilling home, becoming a parts master specialist, all that stuff. Who or what might have inspired that kind of that journey?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, I have to say my family. I had three children, rather young. I had to support them. I had lost a job that was a well-paid job that I was in for 11 years out of high school, and I needed to do well and move up to the best of my ability. But as far as in moving from job to job, I had an excellent general manager that I was with when I was with Volvo and Mac, and
Nice.
yeah, Volvo Mac and
And
all the
you love the engine manufacturers.
yeah, most definitely. Yeah. And he just inspired me. Just he was so I guess so compassionate, so driven towards excellence. Um, he wanted to see everybody succeed, and he was a great teacher. So yeah, I actually followed him to three different jobs. Um,
Nice.
yeah. So
That's
yeah.
awesome. Did you see any kind of representation of yourself in him, kind of where you modeled wanted to be?
I at the time I didn't because I was still learning. I was still trying to learn to be a man, actually,
Right.
because yeah. So but he was somebody that I wanted to be. I wanted to be genuine. My father always said, treat people as you would like to be treated, and then use moments of failure as teaching moments
Sure.
rather than disciplinary moments. So that was one of the things that I learned from that general manager was to not so much worrying about disciplining people, but learning using things failures as tools to learn and to grow not only the person that failed but your crew.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I think I pride myself in today is to that I tell my crew, hey, when you come in the door, leave your pride aside and know that if we fail, we're going to all learn from it.
Hmm.
Not just one, we're all going to learn from it so it doesn't happen again. And that's one of the true things that my team knows is that they're going to be brought up, in a panel of their the people that they work with,
Hmm.
and whatever failure it may be, we're going to discuss it as a group. And like I said, leave your pride aside and humble yourself and learn from that mistake and use those tools to be successful as a group. So I think for me it's rewarding that people my crew doesn't take those such events as shaming or what have you. It's more of I'm
Right.
teaching them, hey guys, let's learn from it. Let's not let it happen again, and know that these vehicles are they're basically time bombs on the road. And the last thing I want to do is have a failure that hurts somebody.
Right. Yeah, and it's what I hear when you say that, having led many, many technicians myself, um, on their end, you're building trust with them, right? They're
Yeah,
now able to trust you and know it's like, look, it's okay. This is a safe place for me to make a mistake. It happens, right? Negligence is different, right? But
right,
making honest mistakes is okay. And the fact that you show them that through your actions builds tremendous amount of trust. And on your end, I hear that those experiences also help build your patience. And patience is such a huge quality of a leader, right? You
right,
have to be able to have the patience. And every time something bad happens and you control the emotion and sometimes the anger, and they're like, what the hell? Why? Right? You control that. You're teaching yourself to be more patient so that as those things come up, you're able to foster more relationships and better trust because you're able to think clearly and be the leader you want to be in those moments because you're being patient.
absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, most definitely. Um, what that's definitely a truly uh, position that I want to put myself in is just be even killed, steady, so that they know when they come to work, they know what they're getting,
Yeah.
and it doesn't change day to day.
Yeah. I've worked with when I was a mechanic for Caterpillar, right? I've worked in environments where you don't know what you're going to get, right? When you show up, you could be in the best mood, you show up to work, and the atmosphere is terrible because one person decided that they wanted to push their emotions on the entire shop,
Mhm.
and it just hurts everybody.
Yeah, culture is a big thing. I mean,
Yeah.
you
And
know,
it
if you
starts with you.
right, right, actually, absolutely. As I walk in the door, that's when the culture starts, and I think it's a big part of retaining employees as well.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, they spend a lot of time with us. They spend a lot of time with me, and the one thing I want them to do is feel comfortable with me as much as I feel comfortable with them. But also, create opportunities for them, challenge them,
Mhm.
and then challenge them, but also teach them
Yeah.
and do everything you can. I try to do everything I can to make them successful.
Yeah. You set the tone and you hold the standard, right?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
and believe it or not, most people don't understand, but like employees, good people there doing the work, they want to be held accountable. They want to know where they stand, right? They want to know if they're doing a good job or they're doing a bad job. But often it's the delivery of the leader or the atmosphere the leader creates that makes those conversations, those things bad. And then people get this nasty taste in their mouth about a shop or a foreman or a manager, right? And it's just about the atmosphere, the tone that that person carries and the standard that they've set.
No,
Yeah.
that's very true. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to hear that that is important to you because in the heavy and industrial space, a lot of uh, leadership is a really good mechanic becomes the boss. And that doesn't mean they're going to be a good boss,
Right.
you
No,
know?
that's so true.
But yeah, so my next question, Anthony, and that was great. I'm glad we had that conversation because that speaks to a lot about who you are and the reason that you've received this nomination or this award. Um, we talked a little bit about it, but what are some learning experiences throughout your career? What were some times where you were kicked in the head and then you had to regroup and make better on it?
Yeah. Um, you had mentioned a bit about it was is just having patience, and learning myself. I wanted things to move fast for myself. I wanted to,
I'm notorious for that too.
yeah, yeah, and sometimes I thought I was better than what I was actually was,
Yep.
and I needed to humble myself and take a step back and just take a good view and realize where I actually am in the field and where I need to be. But no, I've done quite a few things. I've gone into service sales. I've been in, service manager for dealerships. Um, so there was quite a bit of a learning curve for me, going from dealership to dealer support um, to being involved with an OEM. So the learning part of it was a big deal to me. But dealing with customers was kind of the toughest part of it all, was dealing with customers and um, trying not to let anger set in
Yeah.
and all that. Because yeah, anybody that's been a service manager for a dealership can say that customers could be the toughest thing to deal with. So yeah, that was kind of my hardest and toughest part, was actually dealing with the customers in the dealership mode. So,
Yeah, I can see that. I've never been in the sales side of things, but I have been the person people have been selling a lot to.
yeah.
And I know that I probably wouldn't want to deal with me
Sure.
either, right? Especially when we're talking, a $2 million set 777 haul truck, right? And we're talking big money powertrains and undercarriage and engine replacements, and we're negotiating on those things, and services are being provided and not being done well. And
Yeah.
I was definitely the person you didn't want to talk to. Uh,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And the other part of it is the hiring and disciplinary and the firing. The firing is the toughest part because in many cases, when I had to let somebody go, it was somebody that I hired, somebody that
right.
I took from maybe have taken from a job. to place them in my shops. And to let somebody go, it's pretty tough. But the one thing that I made sure of and learned to make sure of is, did I do everything to make that person succeed? And
Yeah.
if I did, and they still failed, then, I didn't feel bad, but it always hurts.
Yeah. And that, I'm glad you said that because the next thing I was going to say is most people fire themselves,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? But if someone is brought into an environment and not enabled and cultivated and trained and felt a part of the team, right? If we don't do those things as leaders and then they fail, well, we failed.
Yeah.
But if we
Yeah.
do all that stuff and we're still having these issues or these personality traits or whatever, then people are firing themselves essentially. You're just being the bearer of bad news at that point.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And then on the flip side of it is, you have the employee that is doing a really good job in this role that they're doing, and then they come to you and they say, how do I get to the next level? And it's important to have that answer, And I always tell my guys, I say, hey, you're at, let's say level A service mechanic. You're at level A service mechanic. Um, you're interviewing for your next position. You're interviewing in the current role that you're in to get to the next level. Um,
So A is the lowest.
A is the lowest. That's
Okay.
that's our
Okay.
PM tax.
Okay. So I'm used to it being the other way.
Okay.
So like a C mechanic would be like an apprentice, right? And
Okay.
then a B and then an A.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just using letters as an example, but
Oh,
we
okay.
go, we go PM mechanics to multi-purpose to a heavy duty.
Got it.
Um, but I always say, you're in your position today, interviewing for your next position.
That's right.
And so it's important to have things, how do I get to that next level? Well, it's training, it's time, and it's proven to me that if I give you a job to do and a procedure to do, and you have all the resources, how well do you do it?
Right.
And not only how well do you do it, the timeliness and all that. So um, I enjoy having that answer for them so they know, and to not keep it a secret, and then
Yeah.
then when they are successful, make sure that you reward them for being there.
Yeah. Do you guys track rework on your technicians?
um
Meaning, say
yeah,
you've got a truck that needs a head gasket, right?
right,
They do the head gasket, and then 2 weeks later comes back, and there's an issue with the process of either replacing the head gasket or the head gasket itself. You guys track that? We call it guaranteed work at the dealership.
right, and we used to call them just comebacks, but we don't in our field now, but I did as a service, yeah.
Okay, cool. I have two more questions for you. One is not pertaining to this at all. It's just, are you going to be at Waste Expo this year?
And not to my knowledge right now.
Okay. Well, we'll be there. So if you decide to go, it's in Vegas. We went last year. It's a fantastic time. It's all about refuse and I mean, it's everything you can
Yeah.
think of. It's great. If you're there, please, please, please come say hi because we'll be there.
Oh, awesome. I will.
Yeah, it's everything you're up your alley. It's all it's
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Awesome.
Um, all right. So I know we again this is a great conversation. So we're covering a lot of stuff here, a lot of ground. Um, is there any advice that you would give to somebody who is starting out as a planner, uh, a parts specialist, an apprentice, a diesel mechanic fresh out of school, whatever? What advice would you give somebody who is in those initial stages of becoming their desired trade?
I I would just say to take every opportunity that you have to learn,
Hmm.
um, and value that, because there's so much out there. There's so much training that you could take, and if your employer is offering it, jump on it.
Hmm.
I give you a little background here. Sometimes, well, we don't have the time to train during their normal shift, so I offer overtime. And you would think somebody really young, trying to raise a family would jump all over that. But a lot of times they don't. And
That lets you know where their priorities are.
exactly. And that's one of the things I don't get, because I always wanted to move up, and I wanted to take every opportunity I could. And so I try to talk to my employees and say, hey, you know what? Take every opportunity you can. If somebody offers you something, as a promotion, as a training tool or something like that, don't be afraid to say yes and jump on in
Yeah.
because you might jump in, the water might be warm, you may love it. You may
Right.
jump in, it might be cold, and it's something you could always go back.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
So best advice for me is just take every opportunity to train, to learn, and to better yourself, but stay humble.
Yeah, 100%. That's a good example. When I was working for Caterpillar, I got out of the Navy to work for Caterpillar as a heavy equipment mechanic, but they had a truck shop, and I was very good and known for electrical troubleshooting. And the general manager was like, "All right, we're going to send you to air brake school to get your, air brakes for like over the road." I said, "Great, I'll do it, but I'm not working on trucks. I came here to work on dirt equipment." And I did. I took the opportunity. I went to the school. I learned a whole bunch of stuff. But
Yeah,
when I got back, I was like, "Hey, I want to stay on the dirt side. I don't want to go in the truck shop."
yeah, yeah, yeah. So you're good on electrical. So if you ever want to come to California, look me up.
No, no, I'm good. I'm good where I am. But yeah, so electrical and hydraulic troubleshooting is where and electric over hydraulic is where I shine. But I do engine. I mean, we did everything. Uh,
Awesome.
but I had a lot of older gentlemen in my shop that had been with Caterpillar for 40 years.
Yeah.
And while they were extremely experienced and had tremendous amount of knowledge I didn't have, I brought the newer generation of kid into the shop, right? So when
Mhm.
it came to like laptop troubleshooting and reading schematics, hydraulic and electrical schematics and troubleshooting those types of things, I had that over them, but they had the knowledge of the industry over me. So if I'd never put tracks on a D10 dozer before,
Yeah.
they had that experience. And then
Mhm.
vice versa, if they were trying to use an amp clamp and a multimeter to troubleshoot a no start or something, I
Yeah.
had that experience to help them. So it was really cool.
That's great. And you bring up a good point there, Brian, is that um, I've worked in shops where the senior techs are like, you know, they weren't really liberal with their knowledge. They
Yeah.
wouldn't pass it on to the younger people. They say, well, I had to learn it. You need to learn it your way. And one thing that we push is teamwork here and is working with others and learning from others. And I like that because I think what that does is it brings you together as a community to say, hey, not be afraid to say, hey, I don't know how to do this,
Yeah.
and be open to being taught.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
No
that just
doubt.
yeah, that just builds your team so much stronger.
100%. I used to tell when I had technicians and foremen and stuff that had worked for me, I would tell them all the time, is like, look, if you hold on to all your knowledge, you are going to be held back. If you
Yeah,
share your knowledge, then you can share in the rewards of this team.
absolutely.
And uh, I was not a I did not advocate so people thought that if they had a very specific skill and stuff that they could like hold it over. I'd be like, "Oh, you're that guy? Okay, well, I'm going to send three of our new guys to school to learn that exact same thing."
Nice. That's very good.
So we didn't want that. I didn't want that in my shops. And now I did have guys who were very specific. They had very special skills, right? And I leveraged those skills. But I made sure every once in a while there was a greener person who was there with them doing
Yeah,
those skills. And then I would have that greener person report back to me to know if things were being transferred or if it was just like, go hold this, stand over here.
yeah,
You know what I mean? I wanted to make sure there was some sort of relationship and knowledge transfer going on. But yeah, I would just tell them, hold on to the knowledge, you're going to hold yourself back. Share the knowledge, you're going to share in the rewards of our team.
that's great. That's really good.
Anthony, I just want to thank you and congratulate you on behalf of myself and Upkeep in general for being our team leader, Maintenance Hero Awards winner. I wanted to give you the last word. If anybody wants to get a hold of you to talk conferences, talk waste and refuse, talk leadership, maintenance, anything, how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, the best way is by email, and it's my first name, Anthony, Anth, and then a period, and then Cohen, Cohen, at mdrr.com.
Cool. Perfect. Anthony, thank you so much. We're greatly appreciative of you and what you do for your team. Clearly, this interview has shown the reason why you have been nominated and won this through your sound leadership, leadership first, right, and ensuring your team is enabled and doing the right things. And you're a testament of that. Um, Stay in touch, and we wish you the best of luck. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bryan. It's been an honor.
We'll see you on the next one, man.
Okay.